Do you know that recently someone asked me if I'd been experiencing more anti Semitism? And to their surprise, I actually said, I haven't. And the discussion then moved on to social media and different things that are going on in the media world. And I realized that I was just discounting the cesspool of hatred that I'm seeing on social media and on the news. It's almost like I became immune to it. You know, anti-Semitism is really a huge problem, but it's not really a new problem. I mean, given the obnoxious protests at numerous institutions of higher education, I'm getting an uptick of questions about it. Rabbi, how do you feel about this? So here's my advice in dealing with one aspect of anti-Semitism and the issue related to that. You see, the recent trouble seemed to climax with all the protests on the universities during Passover, as millions of Jews around the world gathered around their table to commemorate 33 and 36 years ago our exodus from Egypt. It was an event that was a true expression of our current freedom. The Mishnah actually says that in every generation you are obligated to feel as if your Seder now is if you went out of Egypt personally. So in the middle of the story of the Seder, we read a paragraph where God promises to Abraham that after a certain amount of time of suffering of his descendants, of slavery and bondage, his grandchildren, his descendants, they will be redeemed and they will inherit the promised land of Israel. And the Haggadah, the text, tells us, and now raise your glass and say these words. And we sing, Vehi She'amda, Vehi She'amda. What are we saying? We're saying, and this is what happened to our fathers and to us, that not only one generation of people tried to destroy us, but in every generation, people rise against us to destroy us as Jewish people. But the Holy One, blessed be He, saves us from their hand. HaKadosh Baruch Hu matzilenu miyadam. How does this statement enhance our feelings of freedom? You're sitting at the Seder, you're supposed to be free. And the fact that our enemies rise against us in every generation, it's not a cryptic sentence. Almost every page of our history tells the story of how nations and many individuals and people tried just to do just that. And tragically, millions of people throughout the ages suffered terribly as a result. So are we really free today? Reading the text carefully, you notice the text says that our enemies tried to destroy us. Not only kill us, hurt us, rob us, or shame us, they're trying to destroy us as a unique people with a divine mission. See, God promised Abraham that no matter how anyone succeeds in hurting the Jews, they will never, ever destroy the Jewish people. Sometimes they try to do it violently, other times politely, but these are just different tactics with the same goal. And recently, this idiotic, cancerous hatred was somehow dignified with the official term of all these things, or they're spewing hate and negativity, anti-Semitism. But don't be fooled how sophisticated it sounds. It's the polite, non-violent, sophisticated sounding anti-Semitism that is most common and can in ways be the most devastating. I have three brothers who are campus rabbis, and one of them shared with me about two young people who attended his Seder. And he shared a perspective of how you can look at anti-Semitism. He said like this: one of the students told him she was having lunch in the cafeteria, and she overheard another group of students discussing the war in Israel, non-Jewish students. And they were talking about this in a very negative tone. They didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings. But the student felt very alone, very vulnerable, as she was a Jew and hearing what they were saying. And it was a feeling of experiencing subtle and unintended anti-Semitism. But as she was feeling that, she looked out the window of the cafeteria and she saw a volunteer walking down the walkway, tabling. And he was wearing a kippah on his head in the middle of all the demonstrations on campus. This kippah man who was wearing a kippah was actually at the Seder, and he heard the story from this student for the first time. And she said, "You have no idea how proudly Jewish you made me feel." The way that silly conversation made me feel didn't matter anymore. Because she said, I was reminded how I'm part of something special. It didn't matter what others were saying about Jews. So the joyful tune of Vehi She'amda we say at the Seder reminds us in all circumstances, we as Jews are truly free. And the good news is that we as a people have a divine mandate. We will never be destroyed. And as individuals, we can protect ourselves from this polite sounding vitriol and hatred that we may encounter. So friends, by remembering who we are and having confidence in God's promise to us, we inculcate ourselves, our families, and our communities from the spiritual, mental, and psychological devastation anti-Semitism is trying to accomplish. So by being proud Jews and openly observant of our Judaism, we neutralize the position of polite anti-Semitism. And the better news is that anti-Semitism is only temporarily, because our prophets told us about the era of the redemption. What's going to happen? It says the wolf will lie with the lamb. All wars and jealousy and competition will cease because there won't be any evil in the world. People will just see goodness, see godliness. So friends, let's do our part to make it happen now. By increasing in a bit more Torah study and mitzvot, inspiring others around us to increase in acts of goodness and kindness. I want to tell you something I did this morning. I was invited to a very important firm business here in Nashville where the CEO reached out to me if you can, Rabbi, do you mind please come put up mezuzot in our headquarters, which is based here. It's a company that has several thousand employees. So I came this morning not knowing what to expect, and I had 10 mezuzot with me. He said, come to my office. He is obviously Jewish, and so are one of the other important leaders of this company, very high officials. And he invites 8 other non-Jewish VPs and leaders of the company to come. He says, Rabbi, tell them what we're doing. And I said that we're standing here in the headquarters of this big publicly traded company to bring the blessing of God upon the people that work here, the people that come, the people that go, as we proudly place the mezuzot here, which is a blessing of protection. It's like a spiritual insurance policy, I said to them, with a one-time premium and no annual renewal. But this is a way that we show our Jewish pride. But it's not only a blessing for the Jews that are here, it's a blessing for everyone that comes in and out of your offices. Now, the CEO of the company was so proud of that moment. Maybe he doesn't, every moment of life, look that way, doesn't display his Jewish pride in public the way we did it today. But I felt this morning, a sense of I am a Jew and I am proud and I will say it out loud, for that's what I'll always be. And all the people in the company, from the leaders of the company, we went around, we put up 10 mezuzot in all the different offices. And there was the CEO and one of the other leaders who was Jewish had such a sense of pride and joy. And you know, the respect that they had for them, that when I walked out, one of the executive's assistants says, Rabbi, can you please put one up right over here by my desk where I sit? For they wanted to be part of a winning team, because that's what we are. We are not to let ourselves be pulled down by others who are trying to put us down. May it be the media, may it be politicians, or may it be other people who don't even know what they're saying. They're just following the trend of hatred. So you and I can eradicate that hatred by displaying a sense of true Jewish pride. Whatever it is. It's like that girl in university who felt alone. She saw the man with the kippah. Whatever you do, walk with your head up, knowing that we are a light to the nations. Friends, I was just the other day in Murray, Kentucky, where to go for an inspection on a kosher plant. And while I was there, I had to go into a store, and I knew to get something, to get a drink, a snack, big supermarket. And I knew that I looked like a very, very, a traditional religious Jew. And this is a place that doesn't see any Jewish people. And I knew that I'm going to stand out, and I was a bit, a little hesitant at that moment. Where am I? I'm in the middle of 120 miles from Nashville. People in Nashville know who I am, but how is it going to be when I walk in? And you know what happened? I decided I am going in with a sense, be proud of who you are. Go with your kippah, go with your tzitzis blowing in the wind. And as I walk in, someone comes over to me, says, you look like a Jewish rabbi. I want to tell you, we support you, we are with you. And may God be with the people of Israel. And I told him, you are blessed with us. As God says, I will bless those that bless you. When we are strong, even if there's moments of hesitation, if we walk in the street and we live our lives as lamplighters, as those that are proud of who we are, we can make this world a better and a brighter place. A time where you and I, through our actions of Jewish pride, and really bringing God into our lives in a most beautiful way, that this other people will see that we are proud of who we are. We can eradicate all darkness and all evil, as the presence of God will fill this world with all the light from the goodness and kindness that we bring into this world. So friends, I wish you a beautiful Shabbat, a Shabbat where you stand tall. Tonight, light the Shabbat candles. bring the Shabbat in as we sanctify this holy day over a glass of wine. Lift your glass in a l'chaim. Say, God, I am so proud of who I am, and I will make you proud. And may we merit that all of our actions will bring us the era of the coming of Mashiach. May it happen speedily in our days. Shabbat Shalom.